From the first day I saw Michael, I knew he would be impossible to ignore. Arrogant, charming, and with a smile that seemed made to provoke, he got under my skin effortlessly. I swore to myself I would never give in, even if my body insisted on reacting in contradictory ways. The luxurious office, with glass walls and impeccable furniture, seemed made for him. A stage where every gesture, every look, every word was strategically calculated. And there I was, forced to work under his command. Constantly tested by his piercing eyes that seemed to read my thoughts. Sarah, my best friend, used to say that men like him were trouble wrapped in expensive suits. She wasn't wrong. Everything about Michael screamed danger, but a kind of danger that made my stomach flutter and my skin burn. I had promised myself not to fall into his traps, not to let myself be seduced by the power he emanated. But promises are fragile when temptation comes every day, disguised in perfume, in whispered words. In an accidental brush of hands that seemed to linger a little too long. That night, however, everything changed. A single decision, a single mistake, and suddenly, my carefully built world began to collapse. It all started with a company event, a gala at a luxury hotel where everyone needed to be present. I didn't want to go, but Sarah convinced me, saying it would be good for my career. I didn't know then that that night would be the beginning of something I would never be able to undo. The moment I entered the hall, I felt his gaze. Michael was standing near the bar, drink in hand, looking like he owned the place. Our eyes met for a second and I felt my legs weaken. I looked away quickly, pretending indifference, but inside, I was already trembling. Emily, another colleague, joked about how the CEO seemed particularly interested in me. I laughed it off, but deep down, I knew she was right. His gaze always seemed to follow me, like a silent predator studying its prey. Throughout. The night, I tried to stay away from him, but fate had other plans. At one point, while I was alone on the terrace, trying to catch my breath, he appeared. His presence filled the space, making it impossible to ignore him. "You look uncomfortable," he said, his voice deep and confident. "I'm just tired," I replied, avoiding his eyes. "But your body tells me something else," he murmured, stepping closer. The tension between us was palpable, a mix of fear and desire that left me breathless. I should have walked away, but my feet refused to move. It was as if I were trapped in an invisible net he had woven around me since the first day. Michael leaned in, his breath warm against my ear. "You can keep denying it, but I know you feel it too." My heart raced, and for a moment I let myself get carried away. Our lips brushed, and the world seemed to disappear around us. It was quick, almost innocent, but enough to awaken something I had been trying to bury. I pulled away abruptly, gasping. For air. "This can't happen," I whispered, more to myself than to him. He smiled, that infuriating smile that always managed to unbalance me. It already happened. I ran back inside, trying to escape the whirlwind of emotions consuming me. But deep down, I knew it was just the beginning. That night had marked us both, and there would be no turning back. When I got home, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. My body still felt the ghost of his touch, and my lips burned with the memory of that kiss. I tried to convince myself it was a mistake, that I would forget it in the morning, but some mistakes are too delicious to erase. Have you ever fallen for someone you swore you would never get involved with? Write yes in the comments if you have ever been caught in this dangerous game of attraction and share your story. Maybe your experience will help someone else not fall into the same trap, or maybe fall in without regrets. The following days at the office were torture. Every time I walked into a meeting room and saw him sitting there, so confident, so sure of himself, I felt my knees weaken. I avoided his gaze, pretended to be focused on documents or conversations, but the truth was that his presence consumed me. Sarah noticed. "Something happened between you and Michael, didn't it?" she asked, narrowing her eyes suspiciously. I denied it immediately, but she didn't seem convinced. And maybe she was right not to be. How could I hide what burned so strongly inside me? Michael, for his part, seemed to enjoy the effect he had on me. Every time he brushed against me in the hallway, every time his hand accidentally touched mine when passing a document, I felt electricity. He knew what he was doing. One afternoon, after everyone had left, I stayed late to finish a report. The silence of the office was comforting until I realized I wasn't alone. Michael was there, watching me from the doorway. "You work too much," he said, walking slowly toward me. "I have deadlines," I replied, my voice trembling. He placed his hands on the table, trapping me with his gaze. "You're afraid of me." I swallowed hard. "I'm not afraid." "Then what are you running from?" His question hung in the air, heavy, unavoidable. I had no answer. My chest rose and fell quickly, my body betraying me. Michael leaned in, and for a second, I thought he would kiss me again. But instead he whispered, "Sooner or later, you'll stop fighting it." He left, leaving me shaken and breathless. That night, I dreamed of him, of his hands, his lips, his eyes that seemed to pierce my soul. Days turned into weeks, and the tension only grew. It was as if we were dancing around each other, circling, waiting for the right moment for the inevitable to happen. One Friday, the company announced a corporate trip. Everyone would be there, including Michael. The idea of spending days in the same hotel as him filled me with anxiety and expectation. Sarah was excited about the trip. "It'll be fun. Don't be so tense," she told me, but she had no idea what I was really facing. The trip began with the usual preparations: suitcases, long meetings, forced smiles. But the real storm wasn't outside, it was inside me, growing every time Michael's gaze found mine. On the second night, there was a dinner. I tried to stay close to Sarah and Emily, avoiding him at all costs. But fate, once again, played against me. Michael sat right across from me, and throughout dinner, his eyes didn't leave mine. Every word he spoke, every toast he made, seemed directed at me, even when everyone else laughed and chatted. It was unbearable, and at the same time, irresistible. After dinner, I went out for some air. The hotel garden was quiet, the night fresh. I thought I could finally breathe, but I heard footsteps behind me. It was him. "You can't keep running forever," he said, his voice calm but loaded with intent. I turned around, ready to argue, but the words got stuck in my throat. He was so close, so dangerously close, that all I could think about was how much I wanted to kiss him again. Have you ever tried to escape from a desire that seemed stronger than your own will? Write "I understand" in the comments if you've ever been trapped in this kind of attraction. And don't forget to follow, because more stories like this are coming, and you won't want to miss them. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and the memory of the previous night lingering. like a shadow. Michael's presence was inescapable in my mind, each glance and touch replaying over and over. During breakfast, we avoided each other at first, but the tension was thick, undeniable. Every time our hands brushed accidentally, it felt deliberate, electric. Sarah noticed my unease. "You look exhausted. Did something happen yesterday?" she asked innocently, unaware of the real storm brewing between us. I laughed it off, saying it was just travel fatigue, but I knew she wasn't buying it. And deep down, neither was I. Michael, meanwhile, seemed perfectly calm, sipping his coffee as if nothing had happened, though the way his eyes followed me betrayed the truth. The corporate meetings were torturous. Every presentation, every discussion felt like a battlefield. He challenged me subtly, questioning my reports, teasing me with comments that seemed professional but carried another weight entirely. At one point, he leaned close, whispering, "You're hiding something." I froze. My stomach knotted, and I realized I couldn't deny it anymore. Each word, each glance from him made it impossible to keep secrets. By midday, I tried to find a quiet moment outside. The garden seemed safe, but it wasn't long before Michael found me. "You think you can escape?" he asked softly, standing just behind me. I turned, catching my breath. I don't know what you mean," I stammered. His hand brushed against mine, and I couldn't resist the shiver that ran through me. "You'll see soon." "Enough," he said with that confident, knowing smirk. The afternoon dragged, every second stretching like hours. I caught glimpses of him across the room, his expression unreadable, yet somehow burning with something I couldn't name. Back in our rooms, I tried to rest, but sleep was impossible. My mind replayed every touch, every word, every smoldering glance from Michael. That evening, we were forced to attend a company dinner together. I dressed carefully, hoping to appear composed, but the moment he entered the room, all my plans crumbled. His eyes locked on mine instantly. Every step he took toward the table seemed choreographed to make my heart race. When he finally sat across from me, our knees brushed under the table. I felt a jolt of electricity and quickly looked away, pretending to check my notes. Sarah noticed my distraction and whispered, "You two have a dangerous chemistry." I blushed, unable to respond, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks. Michael, of course, noticed my reaction, and I knew it was exactly what he wanted. After dinner, we walked back to the hotel lobby. The night was quiet, the kind of stillness that made every whisper and footstep amplified. He caught up to me near the elevators. "We can't keep pretending," he said softly. I froze. "Pretending what?" "That we're just co-workers," he replied, his gaze piercing. "You feel it too, don't you?" I could only nod, powerless against the truth I had been trying to ignore. Have you ever felt a desire so strong that pretending was impossible? Comment below with "I've felt it," and stay tuned for the next part of this intense and irresistible story. The elevator ride was silent, yet every second felt like an eternity. I could feel Michael's presence so strongly it was almost suffocating. When the doors opened, he stepped closer. "We need to talk," he said, his voice low but insistent. I swallowed hard. "About what?" "About us, and what happened." I nodded, my throat dry. Words failed me, but my body betrayed the storm of emotions inside. We walked down the quiet hallway together, tension crackling with each step. My mind raced, trying to prepare for what I knew was inevitable. Inside the hotel room, the door closed behind us with a definitive click. Silence stretched, heavy and charged. He moved closer, his eyes locked on mine, studying every flicker of emotion. "You're mine, even if you won't admit it yet," he whispered. I felt a shiver run down my spine. My heartbeat was frantic. Each pulse echoing in my ears. I can't. I tried to protest, but the words were weak. He tilted my chin up gently, forcing me to meet his gaze. "Yes, you can. And deep down, you want to." I gasped, unable to resist the magnetic pull between us. Every fiber of my being was drawn to him, despite every rational thought screaming otherwise. Michael closed the distance, his lips barely brushing mine. Hesitation and longing mixed in a dangerous dance, until finally we kissed. It started soft, tentative, but quickly escalated into an intense, passionate connection that left me breathless. All my resistance melted away. I surrendered to the moment, to the heat, to the desire I had fought for so long. When we finally broke apart, our foreheads pressed together, both of us gasping. "Laura, he began. I shook my head, cutting him off. "No words. Just us," I whispered. The room was filled with a shared understanding. Nothing more needed to be said. The truth was clear in every glance. Every touch. That night, vulnerability and desire intertwined, cementing a connection that neither of us could deny. The uncertainty of the pregnancy hung over us, but for the first time, it didn't feel like a burden. It felt like a shared secret, a bond. The next morning, the sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow over the room. We lay side by side, still entangled, still aware of the irrevocable change in our lives. Michael's hand found mine, holding it gently. "We'll face everything together," he said softly. I nodded, feeling a sense of relief and anticipation. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time I didn't feel alone. Have you ever discovered a connection that changed everything in one night? Comment below and tell us your story. Subscribe to follow this passionate, unpredictable romance. Breakfast in the hotel room was quiet, filled with small gestures and shared glances. Michael poured coffee into my cup, his hand brushing mine ever so. Slightly. I laughed softly at something he said, feeling the tension of the previous night dissolve. Marina called to check in, and I couldn't help but smile, realizing our lives were no longer just our own. We were about to create something new together. The pregnancy, once a source of fear, now felt like a bridge connecting us, requiring care, understanding, and honesty. I accepted my feelings, the vulnerability Michael had awakened in me, and the unexpected desire that lingered every time he was near. The necklace around my neck, once a symbol of caution and secrets, now reminded me of the passion, tension, and care we shared. As the day went on, I understood that our story had changed forever. Despite the complicated past and our differences, Michael and I were ready to face the future together. The love that had sparked unexpectedly was deepening, intertwining desire, care, and intimacy in ways I had never imagined. Each touch, each glance, each shared moment carried weight and meaning, signaling the start of something real and lasting. We explored the city lightly, walking hand in hand, savoring the quiet intimacy that came from being truly seen and understood. Even the smallest gestures, a shared smile, a hand on my back, were charged with significance, a reminder of the connection we now shared. Michael's protective instinct surfaced subtly, holding doors for me, adjusting the car seat, his eyes constantly checking on my comfort. I realized how deeply I trusted him. despite the chaos that brought us together. During the trip, every meal, every conversation was an opportunity to strengthen the bond we had formed. Each laugh and touch made me feel more grounded, more certain that we could navigate whatever the future held. The initial tension and secrecy had evolved into trust, a shared excitement, and the thrill of a love neither of us expected. By the end of the trip, it was clear that nothing could separate us now. The pregnancy, the desire, the connection. It was all part of a bond that had been forged in one unforgettable night. Returning home, life seemed different. Every glance and interaction carried new depth and meaning. The necklace rested against my chest, a constant reminder of the night that changed everything and the love that was just beginning. Have you ever experienced something that changed your life completely? Leave a heart if you believe love can arise in the most unexpected places. Subscribe for more intense true love. Stories and comment, love is unexpected. If you also believe in the power of feelings that come from the improbable.